Hello, Rachel.
Hello, Ryan.
How are you doing on this fine, fine day?
Fine.
Just fine? But, Rachel, aren't you feeling yum-yum deep in your heart?
No.
No? Just a quiet, malicious no? Well, how about I motivate you to have some yum-yum? Let's just remind everyone of where we're at. I'm Ryan, and you're Rachel. We're a married couple, and we're rewatching, revisiting, and reviewing episodes of science fiction television. We're broadcasting live from the Marxist capital of Australia as we record these to inform the masses about Yum Yum, a moment from Star Trek Discovery, a series we do talk about quite regularly. We do, in fact, have
Unfortunately.
whole episodes dedicated to Star Trek Discovery where a character, a woman, a feminist, a champion said yum yum in reply to something. Was it appropriate? Well, is yum yum ever appropriate to say? The answer's yes, of course. It was a logical writing step, and it was such a writer's choice, such a profound thing that came upon us all that we had to name the podcast after it. We have never been the same again. We have been referring to Yum Yum for well over 100 times now, Rachel, and has it lost its charm at all for you?
It's changed in the kind of charm that it has.
In what way has it become a diamond in the rough for you?
No, it's still shit.
What? That moment from Star Trek Discovery was not shit. It should have won an Emmy. How Star Trek Discovery has not won any Emmys for its writing is beyond me. And there are so many things beyond me right now, Rachel, such as the 3rd season of Babylon 5. It's gone beyond me now. I'm in another sphere, another realm. I have gone into another plane of existence, the yum-yum plane of existence, because you and we have gone over each individual episode of Babylon 5's 3rd season, and we're here to talk about it, to go over it all, to discuss what we've come away with, the high points, the low points, the things that have changed the most from a rewatch point of view and from our podcasting experience. How wonderful it is. Are you happy that we've managed to get to the end of season 3?
I'm proud of us. We've stuck it out.
Yeah, I'm happy too, but there's also a tinge of sadness as we close the book on another season of B5.
Yeah,
we're getting
it's bittersweet.
We're getting closer and closer towards the end, and this, as I stated in our first episode of the season, has always been a particular favorite of mine when it comes to B5, and I have always enjoyed season 3. I love the color palette of it. I love just the energy that's behind it all, the confidence. The characters are fully set. There's no more bullshit to contend with. There's no more of those aching pains of finding your identity as a series or having to deal with network interference with a Warren Keffer shoved in there.
I would say that there's still some bullshit, though.
There is bullshit, but it's not that type of bullshit. This is the bullshit of this is the show's bullshit, rather than the type of thing that will just come out in the wash. So my overall history and relationship with the 3rd season has always been very positive. I've always put it at my number 1 in the rankings of seasons, and largely because it has just a lot of lighter and fun episodes that are good and don't detract from the hard-hitting, game-changing episodes. What about yourself? What has been your overall connections and dynamics to Babylon 5's 3rd season?
It is a bit of an odd one for me, because I wouldn't say that it is my favorite, but I don't know what would be, because they're all good in different ways.
Maybe it was good. Maybe we all need to wake up, become special.
But overall, I like this season. This season brings me Marcus, and Marcus brings me joy.
A lot of joy was had by you with Marcus, a big smile on the face, a clapping of the hands, and going, aww, a lot when we watched it together. That is one of the drawbacks that you younglings out there have, is you don't get to watch the episodes with Rachel. See, Rachel is a very interactive viewer with media. She will grab things and make noises and very much engaged with the thing on the television. I am sitting there, perhaps every now and then I'll make a little chuckle, a smile, or a sly remark from time to time, but Rachel does there's Marcus, and you practically blush every time he comes on screen. I have to hand her one of those old Victorian fans and smelling salts, and yeah, you have to fan yourself off, and you've got the vapors. Oh my, you've got the vapors for Marcus.
I think it's more that Marcus gives me the vapors.
Ooh, he gives you lots of things. What are some of your favorite moments within the season?
I will read my notes because I'm embarrassed now.
Wow. Embarrassment from Rachel on the YumYumPodcast? I've never heard of such concepts.
So I will share what my notes were for my general thoughts overall, which were that the falls feel harder and the hits still hit. So I had 3 things down, and the first thing that I wrote was when Marcus gets the rose from Ivanova.
In Exogenesis, why? Why? Tell us all why within these 22 episodes, that little end of an episode gag has lingered with you so much.
Because it's funny and cute, and I like it. And it gives him hope that she likes him back. And it's like the only little thing that he has to hold on to.
It's a big gesture, though.
And it gets him so far. So far.
You feed a man a little and it can keep him alive for a very long time. And I agree that was a rather sweet and tender moment for Marcus and Ivanova.
It's such a fucking shit show of an episode. So I'm like, it feels even sweeter because it is in that shit.
What were some of your other standout moments or favourite bits within the season?
Jakar beating the fuck out of Londo was one that obviously is fucking great. But the other 2 that I had down was burn, you bastard.
Oh, Lisa. Lisa is a character that I am very excited to see more of, hence I'm biting at the bit to get to the 4th season because we get a lot more Lita action. She's a main cast member in the 4th season, and that there was an awesome moment. I really didn't expect that to be in your favorites list. Why? Why was that something there? Is it just because it's so
it's so poignant, and like it just shows how much she cared for Kosh, but also it's linked to the rage that she has as a character that is further tapped into when she's made a weapon of mass destruction through the further modifications of her psychic abilities.
The Vorlons interfering with her, but it also shows us that other people, like Lita, still feel the distress of Kosh's death. And makes us feel it even stronger, because he was a character that we grew to like or care for or have an opinion on, which is one of the great strengths of the third season, is making us care about Kosh.
Kosh becomes a character.
A master of riddles. We actually have an emotional reaction to his passing, as well as afterwards. We feel the lack of his presence, which is ironic because we always felt the lack of his presence because he was never there.
New Kosh is there more physically.
And he's mean.
He's meanie. He's a meanie.
So what was some of your other favorite moments? Do you have another one left?
Third one that I wrote down was Rifa'S Death.
I have that in my notes. That's one of mine. Rifa'S Death. Do we even need to explain?
Fucking awesome!
Do we need to explain it?
I just did. It's fucking awesome.
Do you have eyes, people? Can you see what's happening on the screen there? It is so...
It's beautiful. It's
violent.
spectacular.
It's brutal.
Without showing any violence.
Oh, well, you see enough. You see him get hit and stomped, and
Yeah, but you don't see him. You
don't get close-up shots of, like, arms breaking or shit like that. This
No.
isn't Game of Thrones
like-
level of showing you the gratuitous violence, but oh, Lord, what a way
Lord
to
Rifa.
kill off a character. There's no grace, no dignity to his death. He's killed like a piece of garbage. He is disposed of in a truly horrid way. That is totally what the character deserves. This is one of the times where Babylon 5 rewards us, the viewer, by giving us the simple pleasure of seeing a bad guy
And
get
Jakar
taken out.
walking away.
The music, the contrast and the cross-cutting between the
Editing
sermon
is
and his death.
mwah.
It is elevated into being a piece of art, his death. It is transcendent of just being a scene where we kill off this recurring villain character. His death, as many know, is why we remember Rifa so strongly. He's been prominent for 5 episodes before this, and he's always been good, but I would say that if his death wasn't this spectacular, we wouldn't think of him as intently on those rewatches, because when you're rewatching it, when you're going back over, or whenever you think about Rifa, that's always there in your brain is, oh, he gets killed real good. They stomp him to death. They beat him to death. They rip him apart.
Bloody pulp.
He is bloody pulp. Keep his face and head intact so that they can identify him.
And make sure that there's crystals found on him and
Cold.
have at him.
Cold. It's a cold, cold kill there. So you've listed your favorite moments, and Rifa'S Death was the second in my list. I have, first up, Sheridan talking about the rain hitting the roof when he was younger and how that helps him go to sleep. I just adore the simplicity of this conversation. It's tender, it's romantic as well. It gives us an insight into where Sheridan's head is at in this moment. It even sets up his father as a character. So when we do see his father in the other 2 or 3 episodes within the season, we are brought into having feelings about this man, more so because of how strong this rain on the roof speech is. Bruce, I think it's some of his best acting in the show, period. He's really great. We talked about this in Zahadun, but Bruce is really, really skilled at playing those high emotions, the rage, the anger, the indignance, or petulance sometimes. And we've seen that throughout, like in The Shadow of Zahadum. He can be very good at playing the aggravated sides of Sheridan. And we always joke about how he's Mr. Smiley. Oh, Delenn, I love orange juice. Ha ha ha. But Bruce's acting doesn't always get the chance to show off this kind of aspect of Sheridan, the quiet side of him. The I want to keep saying tender, but it really is. It's this reflective wonder of life. And the Rain speech is some of the best writing from JMS to me. It is that poeticism that he loves to bring to this series boiled down into something that is very relatable. Even if you don't fall asleep because of rain hitting the roof, you do understand the sense of calm that nature and the sound of it can bring you.
My dad heard me walking around. He knew I couldn't sleep. So we went outside. He got the garden hose and sprayed it so it came down on the roof. Just like rain. He stood there making it rain until I fell asleep. I sometimes think he would have stood there for days if he had to.
Something not so sweet, but something that I would be remiss to not mention, and I'm surprised that you didn't mention this conversation either.
I think I know where you're going, and I had a feeling I went with two distinct ones and Rifa'S Death because I could not mention it.
We could not mention it.
But there are so many moments. There's so many.
Do you have a guess what I have down, or did you see my notes? Did you have a peek?
I did not peek. I have an idea, but I want to hear it from you.
I want to hear it from you to see if you guessed it right, because if I say it, you're going to be like, that was it, and how would I know if you're not lying to me?
So what were my hints?
It's a conversation between two characters. That's your hint.
I almost had the elevator scene.
Oh, for
in
Chikara and Londo.
I don't think.
No, mine is.
That's no.
Mine is.
That wasn't my actual guess.
What is it then?
Is it Miss We rewrote the dictionary?
I love the Julie Masanti conversation at the restaurant. The text that she's giving us is truly haunting and has very devastating parallels to historical things. JMS grabbed a lot of statements from Nazis and dictators and speech people over history and incorporated it into that truly bone-chilling point of view that she bestows onto Sheridan. But a thing that really elevates a scene in my memory is that performance from the actress and how casual she makes it all and how she undercuts things by asking for, so is that soy sauce? And just her delighting in the food she's having and making this rather heavy subject matter seem inconsequential, because to this character, this is the way it is. This is just the truth to them. So this isn't anything more meaningful. And so that is a disquieting element to it all. But yeah, this is one of the last big fuck you, this is what Earth is like before they have to go toe to toe and fight Earth. And the Night Watch is something that we enjoy very much. And Julie Masanti is one of the last tendrils of the Night Watch that we have left. And everything she says here is hilariously despicable, but it does make me uncomfortable because we've seen so many of these talking points be regurgitated in one way or another over the years, whether it was in post 9/11 world or Trump era, or for us here when we had that stretch of whichever liberal prime minister we had in, and they're just saying this stuff, and the media, it is. Oh, Julie Masanti, how I wish she was in more episodes because of conversations like this she has here. And my final one, the final one that I have down in my list of things that I very much enjoyed. No, it is just an overall story that is told within the season. I really gravitated towards Franklin's addiction arc in this. Pretty much everything they hit on, from A Day in the Strife where Garibaldi confronts him about it and talks to him as a friend and as somebody who understands what it's like to have addictions and to be somebody who needs things to work in a certain way, and how their behaviors as people are very similar, and so he can understand that. To later on when Garibaldi again has to confront Franklin as he's spiraling out of control, and seeing Richard Biggs play that shattered version of Franklin where he's unhinged and is screaming, and he's also trying to maintain composure and deny it all, and then by the end of that realize that I have a problem and I need to work it out. And all the stuff in Shadow Dancing when it came to him really taking account of who he is and what he has become. I just was really blown away by what Franklin was going through in the season. I knew I would be because I have been before, but getting to talk about it with you on the podcast has really underlined how important a thread this has been for me in the show overall. And it isn't one of the most important ones in the series. This isn't, we have the shadows and they do this, or the Psi Corps, but this is just something that one character is going through for 3 seasons, 2 of which is just quietly simmering in the background, and then it all comes to a head. All of his issues come to a head in season 3, and I found it all very satisfying.
You know, I don't know if this best fits here or when we talk about favorite characters later on, but actually this covers a few of the topics. But what you just said about Franklin made me really think about how much I appreciated Veer's story on this watch through, in terms of like these little or big moments, like of Jakar with the knife, and that was this season, right?
No, that was season 2.
Yeah.
That was season 2, but it helped push Veer to do the things he does in season 3. That's why it swings the line.
Abraham Lincoln and his fiance and the reports and being reprimanded and
then used by Londo.
I really loved Veer's stuff this season.
Then why do the records say they died?
Because back home, nobody cares about dead Narns, only living ones. While I was here, there was nothing that I could do. But while I was running the diplomatic mission on Mbryo, I had the chance to do something. And I took it. My only regret is that I couldn't have saved more of them.
Now, there are some things that don't work in season 3. We praise it very much, but it
ain't perfect.
It's not perfect, and although I love Franklin and what he went through and the elements of it, I just wrote the walkabout. Pretty much all of the walkabout, I could leave. I just don't want it. I don't like it. It just doesn't succeed.
The episode or the whole process of the walkabout?
The whole entire walkabout, except for the end result of it. This is one where...
have shadow dancing and nothing else.
You can't. You need the build-up to it, but I just wish that those previous episodes, not just the walkabout episode, but those previous ones where we touched base with him, had more for that character that made me...
The withdrawal
and discovering that he still isn't over the stuff that he thinks he's over by doing this process. And just the criticism is obvious. Walkabout just isn't fun to watch. It is as simple as that. Every time we cut to Franklin in his walkabout era, I zone out, honestly. And that's sad because I liked all the stuff before and I like the stuff after. So it is just this speed bump in the road for me. What are some moments of displeasure for you when it comes to season 3? Anything leaping or jumping out at you as did we need to do that, guys?
Steam pipe gun in Grey 17 is missing.
I'm a criminal because I didn't write any. Oh wait, no, I did write one thing from Grey 17 is missing. So you know what? Don't worry, I'm not a criminal. Don't arrest me, Garibaldi. Oh fuck the steam pipe gun! How did he shoot multiple bullets out of it like that? He didn't have a cartridge. You know, he didn't.
Like one after the other. It's so bad.
I've had people tell me, actually, that episode's good, and they say, actually, the Garibaldi stuff's good, and you guys are too harsh on the steam gun thing. No! That's the baseball field of this season. It's here. It's briefly here, but it's so stupid that it stands out. It's so distracting. Steam blasting through a pipe and it makes bullets shoot out like it's a revolver. Shut up. So stupid.
He's so stupid.
I have the annoying cult as one of my things that just... It was the closest I got to turning off an episode.
Which annoying cult?
The one that no. The one
others.
in Grey 17 is missing. The one that's actually a cult. The annoying cult in Grey 17 is missing. God bless Robert Englund for trying, but
has a cult.
They're not a cult really, but they're a race of people. But the annoying cult where they're just rambling on and they're a bunch of losers. It was the closest I felt to turning off an episode, and it was the one moment within the entire season that I felt like a fucking pathetic nerd loser watching a show that's made for dweebs. If I could not, like, this is one of those moments within Babylon 5 where it makes me pause to recommend this to normal people. I have a rule of thumb that I never truly recommend Star Trek to people that haven't already engaged with it in some way, shape, or form, because there's just so many alienating elements to Star Trek, whether it's like the really racist episodes that are front loaded in the first season of TNG, say, or just like how they treat women, or just the bizarre storytelling choices, or just how fucking nerdy it is and dry. Babylon 5, I rarely ever have that problem in recommending it because I think there's much more of an appeal to it, but that fucking cult is one of those elements that make me go, yeah, I feel guilty a little bit when I recommend Babylon 5 to my high school friends who are just normal. What anything else in your list of bad moments of the season?
I have this down, and I have my reasons for it. And I think other people feel differently about this moment. And I'm feeling very self-conscious about...
Well, let me just make sure you don't feel this way. Yumlings out there, that's you listening right now. Don't you pick on my wife, okay? Leave her alone. Leave her alone. She's going to say what she's going to say, and you will have to accept it and still give us a 5-star review on whatever podcatcher you do use. So if you haven't already given us a 5-star rating, do it right now before Rachel says the thing that could offend you and make you turn off this Marxist podcast. Rachel, what is it?
Linnea saying that he loves Delenn.
Oh, incel Linnea?
Yeah.
Does anyone like that?
I don't know.
We
but
talked about it.
I feel like lots of people want to protect Lydia, but I don't think anybody really likes the direction that this goes in. But that's why I was just like, I feel some people would defend it.
We tried our best to explore it.
But it's just like, I would rather it not be here.
Oh, if you had to give me a genie wish and it was, could you improve one thing in Babylon 5, I would really have to toss and turn between Ivanova being in season 5 or Linnea not being a cuck boy. And it's a real toss-up between the two, depending my mood. And I understand, but we did try our best in that discussion to look at the incel Linnea, the Linnea who's in love with Delenn and holds it as a dark secret, as something that is more meaningful than our just flippant rejection of it. But it's still not welcomed for you, huh?
Yeah.
Do you think it ever will be?
No.
Do you think this? No?
No. And that moment gets worse the closer to the end of Linnea's character arc we get.
But that's why I'm excited to see the Linnea arc. I want to know, now that we live in an age where that type of behavior is far more criticized and it was also analyzed and scrutinized and all the eyes. I want to look at it and see how far ahead of the curve Babylon 5 was with that. And not to say that this hasn't been explored in shows from the past, but Babylon 5 quietly putting that there and making us question somebody like Linnea. I like it on a philosophical level of, oh, that sounds interesting, but thus
I
far...
like Linnea, and I don't like that I stop liking Linnea.
Other than that stuff, anything else on your shit list? I only have one other thing, and it has been mentioned. The parasites taking over the homeless. Flush that down the toilet. I despise that. I also
specifically had Marcus going to the piss market.
Yeah, the homeless, the lurkers
and
down below market that has the yellow lights.
Buying Tosh. And apparently he goes and buys from Duncan every day.
Oh, and he's being stolen credits. Like, oh, you're a bloody thief, you are. It's not just that episode, but I specifically don't like the Vendrizi in general. It's very much a twist for the sake of being smart. Ooh, you didn't expect that the overtly sinister body-snatching aliens were secretly good guys. It's like, well, okay. Now that I know that and I reflect back or even dare watch the episode again, I will see how that lines up. It doesn't. Why are they acting like that? Why are they being so overtly sinister? Why don't they understand social cues and how to pretend to be? Why? This is one we didn't even mention in the episode, but in the story, they go into Duncan's quarters and there's a big hole in the wall that looks like a giant creature has burrowed through it and it's got gooey tendrils dripping off of it. Why is that there? When we know that these are sentient, smart, parasitic creatures who are good guys that can go from place to place, no one assuming that they're evil because they're humans and they're walking around. Why do they have gooey holes in the walls that are clearly evil? Why, JMS? Because I had a fever, Ryan, and I don't remember writing that. Oh, good answer, JMS. You got me there.
Now, my guess is that it's some kind of alien parasite that burrows into the spinal column and takes control of the neural system. Now, if there are enough of these things, they could take over the whole station before anyone knows they're here.
Favorite episode? Season 3. What is it? I only wrote one. There's one clear winner for me, and it's hard because there are so many seminal episodes.
I had 2, but I want you to go first.
And the rock cried out, "No hiding place."
Yeah. I knew that was going to be yours. And I was like looking over and I was like, oh, do I just go for it? Because it is.
It slaps.
It's fucking great. It's fucking great. It's the one that I think of when I think of season 3.
I think of the Babylon 4 time travel episodes, and I think of the Kosh death episodes for season 3.
One of the episodes that I had down was War Without End Part 2, specifically.
So just to go a bit deeper into And the Rock Cried Out, No Hiding Place, it's the only one I wrote because it has everything I want from Babylon 5. in it. It has the politics, it has the conniving, it has the ongoing continuity, it's paying off things, it's setting up stuff, it's got the deep character moments, it's fleshing out the relationships of people, the Delenn John stuff is really nice in it. Wonderful guest star performances, new and old. The monologues that you get in the episode are very well done. The monologue from Reverend Dexter, the conversation he has with Sheridan about responsibility and who takes ownership of it is marvelous. And Rifa'S Death we've already gone over, but it is just great, and we have really loved Lord Rifa as a character in that performance throughout our watch. So, and The Rock Cried Out Now Hiding Place has to be in my top spot for season 3. It just gives me all the things I want. Shitty Londo. It gives me a cool murder. It gives me so many things that are epic, but also quiet moments.
Yeah.
It's not all just awesome, yeah, we're doing the awesome Game of Thrones, House of Cards, I Claudius shit. There's the classic Babylon 5 stuff in there as well. So you said you also had that in there for you, but
Yeah, that. But I was like, that's gonna be Ryan, so I'm not gonna write that down as one of mine. The two, well, I mentioned one, so we'll start there, which is War Without End, Part 2. I fucking love it. Valen has gone bye-bye.
well, he's become Valen, hasn't he?
He's become Valen, and he went bye-bye.
He went bye-bye.
Zathras he's gone.
But he ain't gone forever, though. We're going to meet other Zathras.
Yes, we will meet other Zathrases.
Zathrai. Zathropuses. I don't know. Zactopi.
Yes. But
If they had the technology, do you think they would have had Tim Choate, like all of them on screen at one time?
Yes.
Do you think they would have tried that?
Yes.
They could have. They showed us Franklin on Franklin action this season.
Yeah.
Cowards. They didn't have the technology. They didn't have the budget for it. But please go on with why War Without End Part 2 is the...
It's such an important conclusion, and also the setup, like the way that Zathras explains the one and how that is a part of concluding Sinclair's story in the show, and such a careful farewell to the character.
Very loving,
Mm.
very meaningful, and it gives back to the universe that the series takes place in. On a meta level, this is us, as well as the Babylon 5 production, saying goodbye to Michael O'Hare in a proper way.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get to do that in the first season, and there was no real time for it in the second. But within the show, it is, we know that Sinclair meant something to us, the creative team, to the actor, to you, the viewer. So we have to conclude him in a way that shows that we also still loved and cared about this character. We're not just going to kill him because we can. This isn't going to be Star Trek Picard, where they just offhandedly and or brutally dispense with beloved characters because why not? This is a love letter to Sinclair and to Michael O'Hare.
And like it has that stuff, and that's been built up and it's paid off. But also the Sinclair stuff adds to and contrasts to the Sheridan stuff that we're given with the flash forwards and John just struggling his way.
He is just confused.
Just struggling his way through those moments.
Sinclair is a
And
man
yet-
of clarity, and Sheridan isn't.
You get the kiss, but you don't get the kiss. And it's so tantalizing and infuriating, and it's just... Ugh.
See what you did to my wife, JMS? How could you do this? She's my wife, and you're doing it right in front of me? You play with her heart like this? She wanted them to kiss, but not like this. Not like this.
So I've had to pick this episode because in my heart, I did not want it to go unacknowledged. And that is Dust to Dust.
Okay. It is a very great episode, but I didn't expect that one to come out of your mouth. I really thought you were going to say a late delivery from Avalon, but all right.
Get fucked. Why you gotta be like that? Why?
Because my name is Ryan Sliwinski, and I just be like that.
You're
say
my
the thing.
husband.
I'm your husband, JMS. I'm Rachel's husband. Don't you understand that this is what I do? I make jokes. Not jokes necessarily, because not everyone has to laugh at what I say. If I don't say that they're jokes, and then people say that they don't laugh at it, then I don't have my feelings hurt. I just say things in a certain manner that makes Rachel laugh. And that's the biggest gift of the podcast for me, is making Rachel laugh. And also making her watch all of Star Trek Discovery, one episode at a time. That's the other gift I give to myself. I was going to say, we haven't had a Bester episode ever make it into the top ones for us of a season, have we?
No. And I thought that was a crying shame.
Is it because of Bester, though? He gets a lot to do.
Yes, Bester gets a lot to do. I love him being handicapped in this way and the evolution of how the fuck are we going to get around Bester?
And pairing him up with Garibaldi.
They're both cops.
They're both dirty, stinking, nasty cops.
They're both cops.
And they're both good at what they do.
Yes, they use intimidation to get what they want. I fucking love it. Walter Koenig is amazing.
Oh.
I love him so much as Bester. Like, I love to hate him. Such a sleazeball. So self-assured in everything that he's doing and the righteousness of everything that he's doing. And I'm contemplating giving it to the other Bester episode.
Ship of Tears, yeah.
Yeah, but then I was like, fucking...
Well, you also have all the Jakar stuff in Dust to Dust.
That is what, like, I was just like, no, because, like, I remember and feel those scenes with Jakar on the Dust. Him going to the quarters. Him assaulting Londo.
Laughing at all of Londo's insecurities.
Yes, like the void scenes in Londo's mind, and then the Kosh stuff.
Oh, don't skip over the all of it, Malari. All of it. Neuron by neuron.
I was just going to end it with like every single acting decision that Andreas makes as Jakar is perfect to me.
It's one of his strongest showcases of acting in the season.
It is magnificent.
You. It was you. You were at the center of it all. The others, the ones you're working with.
No, not anymore. It was a mistake. I have nothing more to do with them.
Who are they? Tell me, or I'll rip it from your mind.
No!
Then I'll take it from you, neuron by neuron! All of it, Molari! All of it!
The season wasn't always satisfying.
No, we have exogenesis, and grade 17 is missing, and walkabout.
Oh, and don't forget, don't miss the wonderful late delivery from Avalon.
Well, you've already mentioned
that one. Not always the best.
No.
Not always the best. So,
never the best.
Can we?
That episode is never the best.
It's okay. It has
the only
guest stars Michael York. So
yeah, Michael York is great. Getting Serge a car, love it.
The Red Knight, yeah. Okay, are we in agreement on the worst episode, or are we not? It's still Exogenesis for me.
Yeah.
I cannot forgive the quality of that. Walkabout, I think, has a lot of problems, but there's more good in that episode on an entertainment level as well as a genuine. No. There's a B plot there with Sheridan and all of them going after the shadows, and there's Jakar learning about leadership and Garibaldi confronting him, and hell, even the Franklin stuff in Walkabout has the potential to be more interesting. It just misses the mark by a hair or two. But Exogenesis...
Yeah. Like I've mentioned a couple of times already, there were things in my list that I was like, I'm going to go for something different than Ryan. I couldn't stomach writing something that wasn't Exogenesis because I was like, this is dishonest.
What sticks in your craw about Exogenesis? What about it really gets you?
A big part of it is how disrespectful I feel the twist is. And you sort of touched on that already of, like, they set it up in one way and then tell you, no, it's not. And it's not a satisfying red herring because the episode falls apart if they didn't do that. They don't have an episode if they don't do that.
So... that is a major sticking point for me. The major problem where it falls apart is...
I like the idea of a Marcus-centric episode
I just can't get past the idea that for this episode, after all of these massive ones, that's like after Dust to Dust, isn't it? Exogenesis. And we have to stop now to have a one-off story about how a bunch of parasites take over the homeless. And I, like, that sentence I always say with a derogatory derision in my voice because I don't know how else to sum up why I don't like it. Parasites take over the homeless one-off episode. The idea doesn't please me. It's not one that I'm wanting in season 3 of B5. I'd rather keep going with the momentum that we've been building. I'd rather keep digging into the themes that we have. And
like I said at the top, the hits hit, but it's an
episode written by a man who had a fever, forgot what he was writing, and had to cobble it together. And you see it. You feel it. You know that there's something wrong with the episode while you're watching it, even if you don't know the behind the scenes of it. There's just something about it that doesn't match up with what we've been seeing.
Wrong. It feels wrong.
And this is a JMS script, so it even feels more out of place. If this was one of the guest writers, say if this was a DC Fontana episode or even a Peter David episode, or Larry DiTillio, we wouldn't be as surprised by it. You'd be like, oh yeah, sometimes these guys
come in with
just
gonna ignore Larry waving at you?
Oh, sorry, Larry. He's over there in the corner waving. But he's not allowed to talk. We're in season 3 recap. You can only talk when you come back as a writer, okay? Yeah. So he's not going to talk for a while. So that is another, like, it's a big sticking point is just... it's JMS. We expect better. We know to have better when we've been given better. And it's just really boring.
Yeah. It's very dull. And it tries all of these tricks to look cool. And it's just like, shut the fuck up, Exogenesis.
Nobody wants to hear from you, Exogenesis. Go sit in the corner over there. No one likes you.
No one likes you, Exogenesis.
It does have a moment where an old man shits out a rubber bug and hands it to some fucking bearded loser. I want somebody who likes Exogenesis to just have that scene and explain to me why the episode's good. And every time they explain it, I'm just going to press play on the scene again. Every time somebody tries to tell me that Exogenesis is a really good episode, I'm going to press play and repeat the scene where Duncan shits out a parasite and it's just a rubbery prop and he slaps it in the hand of some bearded loser that we know nothing about, yet we're supposed to care. I'm going to keep playing that scene over and over and over again, and you're going to have to keep trying to tell me why this isn't going to get in the way of any point you're going to make. Because that's in the climax, too. That's in an important moment.
Yeah, that's the point of the episode. Do you want to start with favorite or least favorite character of season 3?
Characters of season 3.
Let's
go least favorite, because I actually struggled with this overall, but I did pin it down. Now do you have anyone that went into your list of least favorite characters? It's more difficult because in season 1 there were people where they just didn't work out or they were just never characters we liked. In season 2, you had Warren Keffer there to exist and be there to be a least favorite character. But season 3, we're at that point now, season 3, season 4, where the crew that is here, we like all of them. So who is your least favorite, though?
Linnea.
Wow. Is it because it became an insult this season?
Yep.
Is that the reason?
Pretty much.
Rachel's got a tear in her eye.
But
that's like one scene.
Yeah, it's one scene, but it shades everything that comes after it. And I like Marcus from the drop. So I'm like, it can't be him. Can't be any of our main cast, because as much as I hate Londo at the moment,
you love him.
He's not a poorly written character. Like he's a bad person.
But you love the character anyway.
Because I was like trying to figure out a way to sort of cop out, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do like a guest spot appearance that we didn't really like. But I was like, that's not really genuine to the question.
No.
And then I was like, can I just do a character that I hated? Because Asante is a fucking cunt.
Which one? Oh, Masanti, Julie.
Masanti.
Yeah, Julie Masanti. Well, but you love her, though. You love how... See, that's the thing, too. You have to talk about one that is bad. Like, not bad as in the character is morally bad, but one that you just didn't enjoy. If we're going to go with just even minor guest spot characters, Duncan's my number one. I don't give a shit about him. I don't care about Duncan. Duncan, shut up with all of your... I want to
slap Freddie in the face,
and that's why... Oh, yeah. Freddie's more... I love how we keep calling him Freddie. His name was Jeremiah.
He's fucking Freddie, and he knows
Jeremiah was overtly annoying, but to me, the winner is Marcus. One of the things I took away from Marcus in the rewatch is how little he's actually in this season. There's so many big stretches and big episodes he's just not in, and there's no reference to him either. It made me really aware that this guy is somebody that JMS can just plug into a script here and there, rather than somebody who feels like they're a part of the ensemble and the crew. When Zach Allen wasn't here and they put him in episodes, that sensation didn't hit me, because I know who Zach is. He's been here since season 2, and he was just always a sporadic character, and now he's in the main. But with Marcus, he's listed, he's credited, he's introduced in the first episode. He's Mr. Handsome, Suave, possible romantic interest for Ivanova. He's the badass guy. And there's whole stretches where he just isn't around. And when he is around in those early episodes, I just couldn't swallow what he was giving us. The writing
I really
was...
get why he's your least favorite.
Even though I stress, I like the character, I like what he becomes in the season, those early episodes made it real hard, and Exogenesis is a real challenge for me with Marcus. It's one that if anyone said they didn't like Marcus, I'm never going to argue with you because Exogenesis exists. And it made me not like him for a very long time.
I love Marcus, but I would not argue for other people to love Marcus.
Don't you ever shut up?
Not until I get what I want. Why? Do you think silent meditation would work better?
Ivanova's right. You are a pain in the ass.
Anyone take the trophy of the favorite?
You go first.
Oh, you don't want to go. You want to hear what I have to say. Guest stars Rifa. Rifa. Love that guy. Rifa madness. Rifa. He's been one of my favorite performances and characters in Babylon 5 this time round. I didn't expect to be drawn to him as strongly as I have, but I delighted in his villainy. I delighted in his despicable nature and just what he offered up as a contrast and counterpoint and dark mirror version to Londo. I will miss him, but I mean, I love how he went out. My favorite character is Franklin. I felt the most for him. And although his story lines and story in general doesn't allow for as many layers of nuance as the other characters, and what I mean by that is we don't get to have jovial Franklins in this season. We don't get to have downtime with him, and that's by design. He's isolated, he's frustrated, he's angry, he's irritable, he's addicted. And so his character is very... it's very hard to watch, but there's just so many things that they gave Richard Biggs to do as a performer to flex those muscles.
Literally,
because he takes his shirt off. But I like his speech that he gives when he's found his purpose after his walkabout. I think his
he's crawling or his speech.
No, when he's giving it to Sheridan about what he has learned. I liked Evil Franklin, as we call him, the doppelganger Franklin, his internal self. That was delightful. But Franklin, he's a slow burn character. So to have the high heat on in season 3 makes me stand up, makes me pay attention, and I really did. I just, when we had him here, even in Walkabout, which is a low point for the character in quality, I wanted to see him, and I wanted to know that he'll be okay, and that he'll figure it out.
I wanted him to learn his lesson.
When people talked about Franklin after he had left, that made my heart skip a beat as well, because they care. They have opinions on this. They're not just slapping each other on the shoulder going, Franklin will sort it out. It's more...
He'll be okay. It's not that.
It's more realistic than that. Because they don't know what to do about him either. This is something where they know he has to sort it out for himself, but also is that a dangerous way to be as people, a support network? It's real tricky, but Franklin really took it for me. Richard Biggs really brought his skills to this. What about you?
I want to do a honorary mention for Brother Edward.
Brad Dourif.
Like, he makes that episode.
I mean, you get Brad Dourif in. makes any episode of TV.
Yeah. He does so many amazing things in such a short amount of time. And it's just like, oh, this is how you do it. I'm gonna go with Delenn.
Delenn, okay.
Yeah.
Is it because she's in full romance mode?
A little.
Just a tad.
Yeah, just a tad. I do love the chaste romance that's slowly building up, and the just the small crumbs that JMS gives us, and how much I want more, but also how much I want this story to be different. I don't want it to end the way that I know that it ends.
That's how you know that you're invested.
Oh,
He's played you. Again, JMS plays my wife in front of me. How rude. How rude. But outside
I really like Mira Furlan's performance. I think she brings a lot to it. And I really appreciated how imperfect Delenn is in this season. Thinking about how far she's come from being shady Delenn, but how she is so righteous, and how that can lead her to dangerous places.
Naroon, there's a whole episode, Grade 17 is missing, where he comes onto the station because of the actions and attitudes that she has held and taken throughout the course of this season. And he makes all of these very valid points, but we know that Delenn is better than the points he makes, but there is a validity to them. And the season finale where Sheridan confronts Delenn about the secrets that she's willing to hold, and you grit your teeth going, Delenn, baby, I know you're better.
You wouldn't tell him that, no.
I know you're better than this, but at the same time, you go, queen. Slay.
Yes, you got those Volon's backs.
You got the Volon's backs. You're their girl.
Oh,
you're their queen.
When she goes into the
the council?
The council, and there's only one person there.
Oh, the council on the ship, not the Grey Council when she goes and disbands them.
Yeah, the Grey Council is a whole other thing. Oh,
a standout, obviously, that we need.
Badass move.
Other thing that we obviously have to mention is Delenn's big badass, talking about badass speech that she gives when she brings in the
Grey Council?
No, when she brings in all the ships to protect Babylon 5 and tells the Earth forces to die, basically.
Fuck off.
You can fight me and die, or you can leave.
Oh, the line that she has where it's just like, only one human has ever destroyed a Mbryo cruiser, and he's behind me.
And you're in front of me. Mira Furlan nails it. She knew how to just crush those lines. She can play the soft sides of Delenn, but also
the crying while touching the view screen in Zahadum.
Heartbreaking.
Beautiful.
But she knows how to play those fiery, those crunchy, fiery, badass, awesome sides of the character too.
She gets to be both. She gets to be she's badass and vulnerable.
They don't negate each other.
No. And it's just...
They flow into one another too.
I appreciate it so much. So much that she is a genuine, strong female character.
This is Ambassador Delenn of the Minbari. Babylon 5 is under our protection. Withdraw. Be destroyed.
Negative. We have authority here. Do not force us to engage your ship.
Why not? Only one human captain has ever survived battle with the Minbari fleet. He is behind me. You are in front of me. If you value your lives, be somewhere else.
Now is time for the award, the Yum Yum Award for Best Spotlight Actor.
During our time on our discussions of B5, we have our spotlight section where we shine a spotlight on an actor or actress that appeared in a given episode, and we just focus in on them, their performance, them as an actor, their career, any interesting things we've learned, and obviously we've had to do 22 people during all of this season. And so there's many to choose from, and for a variety of reasons. I wrote down a couple. I just want to say this one right up top.
So your nominations are?
My nominations are Michael York.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a lot out of that conversation, talking about him, his life, his career. Doing that made me not only appreciate his performance within Babylon 5 and how really impressive it is that they got him to be here, and for him to give us such a sincere, heartfelt, and genuine performance of a character that could have easily been a throwaway in any other actor's hands. But he treats it as the most important. He treats it as the most important role of his career, and that's how you should play it. But especially of a character of that level. But Michael York is just a figure that I've always liked, but getting to talk about him, his recent struggles, but also just how vast of a career he's had, made me really pause for a moment and realize that I haven't appreciated his talents enough. I really think that he is one of the great actors, and I just haven't really grappled with that before getting to talk about him and his career. So I'm really thankful that we did do the spotlight on him, and he was somebody that I knew we were going to be talking about, but I was just looking at it as, oh yeah, he's done a bunch of cool stuff, and he's in Austin Powers as Basil, and he's one of the Three Musketeers, and Logan in Logan's Run, but I really walked away with a lot. Another person that I had down was the actress who played Julie Masanti, Shari Shattuck. She was somebody that we praised highly. She gives a very specific performance. The vocal cadence, the mannerisms, the heightened energy that she has. I can see how this is some actress that could turn away viewers, but that's the choice. She's making a choice, and that's, even in bad episodes, we will at least praise those actors who are making a choice. That's why people like Duncan, for instance, the guy who plays Duncan, or even Melissa Gilbert in the final episode of Zahadum, we criticize them for the lack of verve that they bring to the role, or tour de force, or just the choices that they made. You don't walk away from the Julie Masanti character without having an impression, without having an opinion on her. So really have to praise Shari Shattuck's performance, and really interesting real life person. We got to learn quite a lot about her, and really relished in that. Do you have any people in your spotlight actors, or did you just have one?
I think I had more floating around my head, but I already brought up Brother Edward, and I stand by that. He does an amazing job.
He has to hold up the whole episode, and he's a guest spot. We've never met him before and we'll never see him again. That is it. That's all he's got. Now, did you...
I appreciate Brother Theo as well.
Oh.
I
wish he was in more of the show.
Yeah, he just drops off.
And I miss him greatly. Was Brad Dourif your one? Was he your big one, or was there somebody else hiding in the wings?
There's somebody else, but you go with your big reveal.
William Forward, Lord Rifa. Not a surprise. I've been singing that character's praises. You can see it coming because my favorite episodes and my favorite moments. I just looking at him during our podcast made me really respect these minor actors that they get on B5. Like I said with Michael York, he takes it seriously. Michael York put in the effort for something that could be very throwaway, and more often than not, a lot of the actors do that on B5 that are just the guest spots. William Forward, we looked at his career. He doesn't really have much to him. He's a lot of one-and-done, nothing roles. The blink and you'll miss them. They don't really contribute to the stories, honestly. But he started out as that in B5, but he made certain choices within his performance that made him stick around. The accent, the mannerisms. It's not just the accent and the hair, but it's a whole body performance. He oozes. He slinks into rooms. He's such a self-serving character, and you see that within just the silhouette of William Forward in this role. But
he does so much.
He is someone too that I am really. This is a type of actor that brings so much joy to a series because they're having fun. They're enjoying themselves. You can tell that this means so much to them. And that can really sway you on a show, that seeing these people who walk in, let alone the main cast, are having fun. Because when we do Star Trek Discovery, that's one of the most depressing things is rarely do you get the feeling that the guest actors, let alone the main cast, are really having fun while they do it. It's just a job for them. We joke about how David Cronenberg, he's the inverse of this, where Cronenberg's enjoyable because he's so annoyed to be there and he doesn't give a shit. But William Forward, he has an infectious energy where I just can't take my eye off of him. And I really do wish that he, as an actor, was given more opportunities to shine like this in his career, rather than just being typecast for his looks as a balding, skinny guy who's middle-aged. Here, none of that is present. He is Lord Rifa. So William Forward is my top choice. So what is yours?
Mine is Brother Edward. But no.
She played me like a fiddle. She said it was somebody else.
But because my number one was Michael O'Hare.
That's fine.
Because I feel like that's a bit of a cheat.
It isn't.
But
we were so happy to see him.
I think he's perfect, and I love him. I love him, and seeing him as Valen with those Vorlons next to him,
and Zathras,
and Zathras, and
you got the whole first part episode too, where the whole episode is just Sinclair as the main character
and
again.
Him leaving Minbar and the way that he carries himself differently now that he's returning with this purpose.
Just like Michael O'Hare himself.
I love every moment that we get of him, but that's why I said that, like, it does feel like a slight cop-out because he was
the previous lead of the show, but he is a guest star in this, and this is the last time.
And we did him for a spotlight.
This is the last time, too, where we get to cite a reason that we liked Michael O'Hare so much within the show without it just being reflecting back. He's here. This is the last time. Okay. He was going to be in my shortlist as well.
Are you less annoyed at me now?
Yeah, I'm less annoyed at you. You are now to my annoyance level just minorly. So there you are. No, it's all good. Like, I can understand because I didn't put him on my list because I suspected you would put him on yours, but it just didn't, like, every Babylon 5 fan at this point is in agreement that it's just a pleasure to see Michael O'Hare be able to come back to this role and be able to put an end to it, to say goodbye, to walk off into the sunset and stand tall and be the hero that we knew him to be, and one that's different as well. It's the last time, really.
He evolves.
It's one of the last times that he got to be majorly important in a television role as well, Michael O'Hare. So, because after that, he would just play like one-off little guest spots. And so there's even a greater weight put to it.
Mm-hmm.
All my life, I've had doubts about who I am, where I belonged. Now, I'm like the arrow that springs from the bow. No hesitation, no doubts. The path is clear.
We're the Yum Yum Podcast, and so we look at things from the Yum Yum point of view, and we often say, who had or what had YYE, Yum Yum energy. And when we come to the end of the season, we look at it and go, what was the Yum Yum moment? What was the moment within the season that felt the most Yum Yum? And Yum Yum is a line of dialogue or a sequence where it feels so out of left field, so bizarre, so strange, so abstract that it is just someone punching you in the jaw abruptly and randomly. You're punch drunk from the Yum Yum moment. And there are so many within season 3. I would even say that this is more than any other season. The Julie Masanti episode alone is filled with so much YYE and Yum Yum moments that I struck it off my list immediately. I'm like, I can't reference any from that directly because we can just read the entire script at that point. That episode is insanity brought to life, but guess what? It's good. It works. That's another reason why it doesn't get my Yum Yum moment. Mine is one that I thought about very hard, and I'm grabbing from something I've already ripped into, but it's exogenesis again. I can't leave it alone. This moment is burned into my
You did declare a moment from it.
It's burned into my retinas. It's burned into my
stadium of this season. So.
It's burned into my retinas and my brain. This sequence. Marcus is looking for his contact. And then him and his other contact walk into the hallway where there's just 50 dudes, homeless people, lurkers, just standing there waiting for the scene to happen creepily. And Marcus has this frankly bizarre interaction where he knows something's wrong, but he can't react to it because he has to play cool or else he could get in trouble. And these people, who are apparently good guys, by the way, who are possessed by parasites who have been inside multiple people, so they could understand how to act normal socially, but they won't because spooky. They act like creepy weirdos who are all ominous and sinister. Marcus plays it off cool, makes some quips here and there, and then he takes 2 steps and says out loud, the snarky, like, there's something wrong with them, I don't like this a lot. It's like, dude, they can still hear you. What were they doing before that scene started? They were just standing there ominously. Doing what? What were they doing before that scene took place? I couldn't tell you. That has haunted me since watching it for this podcast and for the Last Best Babylon 5 podcast. That moment, I want to grab JMS by the lapels, sit him down and play that and say, what did you do here, mister? Look, Grey 17 is Missing has a bunch of crazy shit too, and a bunch of silly shit like the steam gun, but in a way, I can kind of understand it. Here, I know you had a fever, JMS. That's always going to be the defense. It's always going to be the thing that you came down with something or something interrupted your writing process, but I don't know how this passed. This passed and everyone said, yeah, let's film this. This totally works.
Yeah.
I nothing else beats that out for the Yum Yum moment. But
yeah.
What were some for you?
Yeah, that's definitely one. One that came to my mind, for better or for worse, is the Harlan Ellison AI.
Yeah. That's a good one to point out.
Batshit.
But it's so brief, isn't it? That's what makes it even more batshit.
Yeah, it's and it runs throughout the whole episode.
I like it. It's so silly.
It's just so silly.
Is it a Yum Yum moment because it's Harlan Ellison and
Yeah.
you know that?
Yeah.
Or just the AI's existence and how it talks to him?
The AI existence on its own is just a what the fuck. AI plus knowing that it's Harlan Ellison equals Yum Yum.
I would be a fool not to also just say that Walkabout gave us 2 full uninterrupted songs.
Yes.
And that's Yum Yum in a nutshell. Because when Yum Yum happened in Star Trek Discovery,
her line about the souls in that as well.
I don't have an issue with that as much as you did, but in Star Trek Discovery, when the Yum Yum moment happened, it really was so out of place, and you say, what is this? Is this a show that I've been watching? Have I tuned into something else? Who allowed this? The songs, same thing. And I'm not even talking about if the songs are good or not. Just in B5, this one episode has 2 full, uninterrupted songs. And that's, makes Walkabout memorable. Makes it memorable.
I think about the things we lost, and I think about the things we had. It's funny, but as long as I had you, and then I guess it wasn't so bad. Now we're running out of time and dancing on the wire. The engine's showing empty, and I think I'm smelling fire.
Is there a theme or a message that you walk away with when you think about season 3?
Franklin. And I think you should continue to talk about that because that's been your massive takeaway from this season is all the Franklin stuff. And for me, it's right up there as well.
I want to hear you expound upon it because I actually didn't have the Franklin stuff in my big arc takeaway overall. Like I like the Franklin stuff very much. It's what works about it for me is it's quiet and human. Mm-hmm. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, but
it's methodical.
But
that's what I really appreciated about it as well.
It's not dishonest.
No, and it feels very raw. The way that Garibaldi tries to approach it in these different ways and managing things, and the fact that the revelation comes from the numbers and the speech that he has about that, of like, the numbers don't lie kind of attitude that he has of like, well, it's above this number, so that proves that I'm addicted. I can't ignore this anymore. And the way that his addiction and decisions around it affect other people. The way that his absence is felt by other characters who maybe don't get a lot of screen time with him. We don't get a lot of Ivanova
and Franklin
action, but she feels his absence. She notes his absence. She cares about him. And that layers a lot of different things in to make it work the way that it does.
I agree with you. It is, as we talked about before, the Franklin thing, although it is just his problem, it doesn't remain that way, just like how an issue like this in real life doesn't just remain with that individual. Yes, Franklin, yes, Garibaldi, yes, people who are suffering from substance abuse problems will have to grapple with that on an individual level for the rest of their lives, but we see the repercussions of that, where we see how much it hurts those around him, and it makes them care about him even more. And that is great to see within your big sci-fi war epic that is about the rise and fall of civilizations and what do we do when fascism takes over again, and all of these great, heady, philosophical and even theological themes that we can tackle, that we still find the time for something like Franklin.
Because it's so human.
My takeaway from season 3 was something that I know is in Babylon 5, but it's not an aspect of it that I play around with as strongly as the others, is fate versus free will. The fighting against destiny. Sinclair is a marvelous example of this, in which he is somebody who has to accept his fate. He has no choice. This is how it must be for everything to work out, and he finds solace and comfort in it. Meanwhile, Londo, throughout all of this season, is finding ways to avoid the future he knows is ahead of him.
Londo was going to be the one that I brought up next.
And in so doing, he is making sure that comes to be. And we even have Sheridan in the final episodes where he also has to deal with this. There's many moments throughout this third season where there was the grappling with fate versus free will and ability to be autonomous, and how much of that is at play. And even though it's silly that Grey 17 is missing has that cult, but the cult belief system tying in with the Minbari belief system that we all are just the part of the universe that's broken itself up and is trying to understand itself. That idea is even tying into how much of what we do is really chosen by us, or how much of it is just how things are, how much of it is just the universe being rather than us making choices on an individual level and actually breaking whatever cycles, or are we just enforcing them?
And how much of it is just chaos and coincidence?
As a person, I do not abide or enjoy the fate versus free will discussion. I'm very much our choices are our choices and we impact the world around us with what we do. I don't believe in fate and destiny, but narratives can introduce this and I am willing to accept them and engage with it.
In the world of the show.
In worlds of entertainment. This is not a thing that I reject as strongly as other things, but it is not something that it's not always something that I love, but I don't hate it either. But Babylon 5 does it in a way where it's not the focus of the show. I think that's where I have a struggle with when it comes to this topic, is when it is the central debate, when it is the central theme of a given material.
Yeah.
This is just one of many that come to mind. Did that linger for you at all? Did that come up for you? Because in the back half of season 3, that was something that we kept coming back to. We kept circling back to.
Mine was specifically the Londo stuff, not the overall theme, but Londo's progression. Because we've said it a bunch of times, but like at the heart of Babylon 5 is the tragedy of Londo Mollari. And his attempt to turn away from the dark side, him getting the prophecies, him playing into the prophecies, and also trying to reject them and having things both ways and not realizing how he keeps on just walking further into the depths of hell.
You said that you would go away for as long as I wanted. I no longer want that. All I want now is revenge. They took from me the one thing that I have ever truly loved. And you will help me, Mr. Malden, to strike them down. Give me this and the safety of my people. And let the rest of the galaxy burn. I don't care anymore.
If you had to place season 3 in a ranking, where is it at in terms of the seasons we've watched and then your overall impressions of the whole series? Because for myself, I've often held it at the number 1 spot, and on this watch, I would still say it's the best season that we've encountered in our viewership thus far, but after having consumed it now, I'm really leaning into season 4 being my number 1. It's hard to say because we haven't watched it, but
there's no fat on season 4. We know that.
Yeah, there's just no fat, but individual episodes stand out more for me in this 3rd season. Interludes and examinations, Point of No Return, Severed Dreams, Messages from Earth, Dust to Dust.
It's the war. It's the Shadow War. That is a big thing unto itself as well. So you think this is now... So your best overall and 4 out of 5. I think it is the best out of the 3 seasons that we've watched so far, because the show does keep on getting better and better. Though I love all of those seasons for different reasons. But I do think that this has the most amount of quality overall as a season.
It's fascinating because there are so many high quality episodes in season 3, yet there are some of those ones in season 2 that I still think are better. Long Twilight Struggle for me is still the best episode of Babylon 5 I've watched. I just
that's a masterpiece.
That episode is just heartbreaking to watch. So it's hard to push that one over just because of so many great ones in season 3. But that one still hits. But yeah, so season 3. But what about it in the context of the series as a whole? What do you think? Have you ever even had a favorite season that you lean towards when you are asked this question before?
Season 4. Like, it has so much joy, so much heartbreak. It is delivered at a breakneck speed as well. Like, there's no Grey 17 is missing in season 4.
You summed it up. There's no exogenesis in season 4. There's no Grey 17 is missing.
You don't get it. You just don't get it there. And it's just like, if season 5 cannot be up there for me because it doesn't have Ivanova. There's so much.
But it has Lockley.
That's shifted. And it's nothing really against Lockley. It's just.
You love Ivanova.
I love Ivanova, and it takes time
to warm up.
And that's time that I don't want to.
And also Byron.
Byron, piece of fucking shit. We'll get there. And it's just like, season 5 for me has always been the like, it's okay, and the finale.
Well, it's all the Londo stuff, all the back half stuff of the Drak war and conflict, and then the finale.
But like that was more just my attitudes. Throughout season 5. So yeah, I think season 3 ends up being my second favorite.
If you had to rate season 3 on our scale of Yum being bad and Yum being good, what would it be?
It's a yum.
Yum yum.
Even though exogenesis exists, I still give this season a yum.
Yum yum.
Another season done and dusted, Rachel. Dust to dust?
I was going to say thank you for
podcasting
with me.
Yeah? You still going to thank me?
I might later.
You heard that, guys. She promised she might later. So that is all we have for our Season 3 overview and recap. We can be found on the social medias under YumYumPod or YumYumPodcast. Email us directly at yumyumpod@gmail.com. We also have a Patreon. What's happening on the Patreon, Rachel? What is going on?
Lots of things, my darling husband. We are watching the Alien franchise. So
we're watching those Alien movies. Those xenomorphs are at it again.
Yep.
We're watching those once a month.
For you.
It's a franchise about motherhood. That's what makes it so powerful and important.
Uh-huh. We're also going through Space Above and Beyond.
We're doing a series on that, one episode at a time. We are discussing it. Rachel has never seen Space Above and Beyond before, and I have. So feel free to join us on the Patreon. We have a wealth of content on there. Support us if you have the means to do so. You get to be a part of a group Discord as well. It's already been stated many times over the podcasting experience, but if you have not rated and reviewed our show, it would be very much appreciated if you did. It would make our hearts swell with joy and yum. But that is all. I will say that we're going to be taking a break, as we tend to do when we finish up a season of the show. We'll be back sometime next year because we're coming out at the very tail end of the year. So we take a couple of weeks off, and by the time we come back, the year will be new. Everyone will be rested and
There'll be
languishing in
a
those
new
holiday
year.
feels.
A new year in Babylon 5, a new year for us.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. And Jakar did not make our favorite character list this time. This is a
He's
shock.
always fucking amazing.
He was amazing here.
We sung his praises anyway.
And we sing his words right now.
Good evening to you.
Mr. Cannonball!